So we know the average Workers Lit listener, the average lit listener, is a really big sports fan. Not particularly, though we do have a few among you. Some folks were asking my opinions on the World Cup, my opinions on the NBA Finals. Uh, gonna have to support the Knicks on that one, but we don't have a
Wow,
podcast.
wow.
We don't have a
That's fucked up.
podcast
You've
position.
got multiple Texans in here.
I'm aware. I'm aware.
Crazy.
But
Did
Crazy.
y'all
that's
see where
not.
they beat the fuck out of that dude wearing a Spurs jersey
I
in
saw it
New
because
York?
you posted it.
Yeah, no, the dude was literally okay. He kind of brought that on himself. Like, why the fuck?
Mhm.
Okay, you already know that New Yorkers are fucking hog ass wild. So
Mhm.
you're just going to go. You already know these kids are out here fucking clowning. Like it's like a working class tradition. Okay, like people are like, oh my god, this is so horrible. I'm like, bro, it's not like Europe where they literally go to whole ass fucking war. Like you got
Oh
you
yeah.
got all these pissed off ass working class black and Latino kids out there. Like when you're young, like when you're, I don't know, 17, 18, 19, 20, you love tearing shit up, fighting, stuff like that. I mean, that's working class culture, you know? And like, why would you got your Spurs jersey on, walking through New York. And okay, first of all, they're already pissed as Trump's in town. They fixed it so that they couldn't be by the garden. So they got to go to the fucking park. Police been kicking everybody's ass all night. And then the Knicks lost first game.
Fuck yeah.
So folks are already going ham. You're gonna exacerbate the situation by walking through this crowd of angry motherfuckers in a Spurs jersey. So they beat us. They literally yelled out Spurs jersey, Spurs jersey. So now you've got at least 50 motherfuckers who are going to concentrate their rage on you, and they beat the fuck out of him and they stripped his jersey off and they burned it.
Oh my god.
Zaron's got the Mamdani Stan Red Guards are active.
To play devil's advocate, the two home games in San Antonio had so many fucking Knicks fans at them. Like it was inappropriate. Like they had because the tickets here are cheaper and because New York has a higher income fan base, they were able to come here and really show out at the San Antonio games, which it's capitalism. You can buy whatever the fuck you want when you have the money to, but it feels like it was disproportionate here. And then one guy in a Spurs jersey gets his fucking ass whooped in New York. They didn't do that to Spike Lee here, like, I don't know.
Well,
Yeah, and I was at Chicago, so I'm from St. Louis, and I was at Chicago around the time that the Cubs broke their curse in 2016. Had my Cardinals hat on, so like, yeah, it was. I mean, I didn't get beat up or anything. I'm a big dude. Like nobody run up on me easy. But like, people were like, yeah, take your fucking ass back to St. Louis. What the fuck you doing up here? You crazy? That was all on the fucking L train. It was like just good natured ribbon, you know. And like they had to try to flip the hat off the top of my head, shit like that. I mean, when you kind of ask for it when you do stuff like that. It's all in the nature of the fucking game, man. We're all fucking young dudes out there fucking doing whatever. It's the nature of the game. I mean, obviously doesn't mean that you get to lynch people for wearing Spurs jerseys, but I mean, you kind of if you don't want any static, don't put that shit on and go amongst the crowd of New Yorkers. You're gonna have problems, especially after they done lost. At least take the stuff off and put it in your book bag.
Certain times a year, whatever the opposite of the uniform is, there you go.
Yeah.
I tell you what, Mom Donnie abolished the police, as we all know happened, and this is what occurred.
This is what happens.
No, he didn't abolish the police. The police were actually out there making shit. It was funny because these kids were out there like fighting, beating the ever loving shit. Like the New York is going to be New York. The fucking Knicks fans were fighting each other.
Mm-hmm.
And like the police were just standing by, letting them do. And then like one dude, he ripped the fucking bus stop sign out the ground of just like wailing on some dude's head with it. And the cops just like, oh my god, no, you're ruining our nice walkable neighborhood. That's a free and affordable bus sign. And Mamdani was like, get them, boys.
Well, I had an intro, but that's funnier than anything that I've written, so we can hit the music right there.
Everything I can need, oh I need, oh I need, oh I need, oh the workers need. Oh workers need. Oh workers need. Oh workers need. Oh.
Yes, hello, comrades. lads, and welcome to your favorite podcast about fighting for the narrative, combating the narrative, taking a street sign and beating the narrative over the head with it. It is Workers Lit. You have us regular folks here. It's me, Big Nasty. We've got the lovely Lenore. I know you
Hello.
can't see her, but she is rocking this like soft goth thing right now. Loving it. Jacob, suns out, guns out, as always. I've never seen the man with sleeves on. He's rocking it. And then today we actually have a guest. He is your favorite Twitter DSA Maoist. We love him for it. Some people hate him for it, which honestly only gives him greater power. It is Black Red Guard.
Sis, I'm black. I was born with enemies.
BRG, welcome to the show. Before we get into the meat of things, you want to let folks know who you are if they're not already familiar, what you do. You know, we like to get our plugs in up top as best we can because people do not listen to the last 5 minutes of episodes, we have found.
Sure, I'm Black Red Guard. I am a member of DSA, proud member of DSA since August of 2023. I am a member of DSA's Liberation Caucus, the very first Marxist-Leninist Maoist caucus in DSA. I'm also national co-chair of AfroSoc, and I am the political education co-chair of St. Louis DSA. So I attend a lot of meetings. I do a lot of work.
Yeah.
I was also a Afro socialists.
Oh.
So it's ironically, it's not just for black people, even though it's called AfroSoc. We also have Persian comrades, we have Arab comrades, we have indigenous American comrades, we have all types of comrades. But the one thing that you cannot be in DSA AfroSoc is white.
Hell yeah.
Makes sense.
Yes, the Cracker
That would
Control
make sense.
Commission.
Cracker Control. It only took 7 minutes for him to say Cracker Control. I love
Well, that is kind of where a lot of people know me from, unfortunately. So yeah.
Yes.
Your
Might
most
as well
famous
lean
tweet,
into
yeah.
it.
It's a good catchphrase.
Indeed.
Well, and Lenore, just got to check in on you. How are you doing today, Lenore? How's life going for you?
Oh, it's I don't know. I don't really know what to expect. Like, it's the World Cup, but like fewer people are gonna come here. So like in terms of crowds, like I don't know. I'm a barista. There's gonna be like foot traffic, but also like fewer and fewer people coming here because it's dangerous here, right? And we are not exactly in a prestigious position, globally speaking, and for good reason. I don't know.
When do y'all have a game?
So I actually have the match schedule right here. In Atlanta, our first game is Spain versus Cabo Verde. That's the 15th of June on a Monday.
Okay, so you got like a week.
We get some interesting ones. We get Spain versus Cabo Verde. We get Spain versus Saudi, Morocco, Haiti, DRC versus Uzbekistan, and South Africa v Czechia.
That's a lot.
Okay.
Are y'all hosting a team?
I'm not certain actually. I hadn't looked that up. I assume.
I believe Spain's going to be here for a little while.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
y'all
I like that we're
hosting
doing
Spain?
It's so sick that we're doing the 1936 Summer Olympics in the United States. But,
Except those people weren't really hassled when they came in. I've seen some interesting comparisons to that, and like I think in a lot of ways the Nazi Olympics they used it as a way to show the world that they were normal, right? Like, I know you guys think we're doing some crazy shit here, but look, we're just gonna host the Olympics. It's gonna be very cool. There were protests, famously so, and it was fine for the most part, right? But the U.S. is taking it several steps further.
yeah,
and
I've got a little
really-
bit of a list here of some of the stuff
Yeah.
that's gone down actually
Oh Christ!
already.
Yeah, this was nuts.
Already we've got Swiss footballers visa putting under review, having a trouble joining his team. Iraqi national player Amin Hussein held for questioning for 7 hours. Iranian national team spent days and days dealing with visa procedures, stuck in Turkey. The U.S. hasn't allowed everybody in. 15 members of delegations denied visas. We've got Omar Artan was named the CAF's best African referee of 2025. He's been denied a visa as a Somalian citizen. Of course, we know the U.S. government's beef with Somalia has really escalated of late. South African national team having a lot of trouble getting in, the Senegal national team having trouble getting in, the Uzbekistan national team getting searched, some Scottish supporters getting some weird treatment. A
Mhm.
number of things. I mean, it's been yeah, we're doing some wild stuff going on. I know the Egypt versus Iran match. They're not letting in any Iranian supporters, despite Trump claiming a month ago that Iranians would be able to come to the match, no trouble at all. And I mean, games haven't even started yet. So once again,
Hmm.
not the best time. And of course, we also saw last night at time of recording Donald Trump get booed at the Knicks game. This is, of course, not a sports podcast, but politics and sports intertwined, as
Hmm.
we discussed. And I think that's relevant for the moment. That things feel real bad in the United States. You can look at our episode about the 250th anniversary and how bad the vibes are around that. Um, so we are in a moment of that. We are in a moment of chaos around the Iran war being on again, off again as we speak. Or United States is carrying out strikes in response to the downing of an Apache helicopter. No idea where we'll be when this episode releases. What we do know, shit's bad. So what do we do about it? One of the reasons we have BRG on, aside from just doing a lot of great work and liking his content, is BRG as an organizer. And I would love you're with the DSA, and I would love if you could talk some about that and about sort of the as broad as this is, sort of the task of the left, and we can kind of have a bit of a free flowing conversation here about what we feel the left needs to be doing to meet this chaotic moment where we feel disorganized, but also our enemies seem to be, in some ways, on the back foot, at least culturally and support wise, if not in the level of like actual military organization and things like that.
Yeah, thanks again for having me on, comrades. But yeah, all of what you said is true. Contradictions are continuing to sharpen. We continue to see our Latino comrades being dragged off the street and placed into concentration camps, families being separated. Black people are continuing to go missing and come up killed or end up in the clutches of the fascist criminal and justice systems. War continues to be made. Um, Bombing Iran right now. So yeah, contradictions are sharpening, and it's our job as organizers to not just talk and complain about these bad things that are happening. Because Amilcar Cabral said that we are not going to dismantle imperialism by simply shouting insults about it. People that just sit around and talk all day and talk about the problems that they're facing, those are impotent, weak people, and we are not going to topple the world's most insidious empire through impotence and weakness and constant complaining and squabbling with each other. So, of course, as I keep saying, I'm not. There's never going to be any strategic or theoretical unity. We're never all going to be completely on one page, but we do need to be able to start working with each other tactically, and in many cases strategically in our local areas, because shit's getting bad. Gas is going up because the Iranians rightfully have shut the Strait of Hormuz. I mean, you cannot just continue to bomb people and murder children and expect things to go out well for you economically. Why you would choose to attack a country that could drive the world's economy back into the Middle Ages is beyond me. But American imperialism is it's a mad and dying giant, and mad and dying giants tend to do very stupid things. So our job as organizers, we're going to have to start being serious about mutual aid. When I say mutual aid, I don't just mean handing out boxes of spaghetti and stuff like that, but I mean like actually organizing working class people, actually organizing working class organizations. We have to be organizers of organizers to weather the storms that are coming. So that should be our primary task. Um, as George Jackson said, we have to put aside our petty, stupid quarrels that in many cases are irrelevant, that are rooted in personal antipathy and animus. And we have to actually realize that if we are serious about serving the people, if we as Maoists or Marxist-Leninists or anarchists or whatever flavor of leftists we want to call ourselves, if we're serious about actually helping the masses weather the storm that's coming, then we have to stop bullshitting. And one of the reasons why I encourage people of various ideological tendencies to join DSA is because in DSA you have 105,000 comrades. You're going to need a community. You're going to need somebody like, okay, if I'm stranded in Austin, Texas, I know who to call, I know who to message, or I know where to go. If I'm stranded in Chicago or Norfolk, Virginia, or New York City or LA, I being a member of DSA, I know who I can go to get help. If I go missing, I have 105,000 comrades that can help find out what's happened to me. And that type of community, it is of utmost importance. Yeah, being a communist, an anarchist, or whatever, a leftist of any type alone in this world as it's going is a bad thing. So yeah, we have to begin to actually get serious about organizing. Squabbling over who has the correct line, even though many of us are divorced from practice, that's no good. Mao taught that correct line is determined through practice. The Black Panthers demonstrated that. People followed and organized with the Black Panther Party because they were actually out there serving the community and they were actually out there putting their beliefs and their lines, eclectic as they were, into practice. And the black community saw real results. So we have to start doing that.
I love that. Organize the organizers. I think that's so important. And the point you made about people being so siloed into their own little specifics, right? And like, the Marxist Leninists think that we're correct. The anarchists think that they're correct. The Maoists think that we're correct. And like, we pretty much agree on like 95% of things. And it's absolutely absurd that we spend so much time squabbling over that 5% instead of, you know, like George Jackson said, like casting that shit aside and working together because we actually have a common enemy and it is not each other. This is
Mhm.
brilliantly put. Thank you.
If I could say then, and in the spirit, of course, of like it not in a combative way or in putting other things down, but what made you, as a communist, as a Maoist, feel DSA was the place to plug in? You mentioned the size of the organization. Of course, it's a multi-tendency organization. I know some people they kind of balk at that. I'll say full disclosure that I am a DSA member here in DSA Atlanta. So I may be slightly biased in this in my calculations here, but would love to hear your thoughts on that. And I know, of course, we've have said in the past we encourage people to join any organization that's doing the work, but would love to hear your reasonings for doing that and for starting Liberation Caucus.
On the background, the organizing background that I come from, it was pretty deep into the like small group Maoist. I don't want to say sect, but for all intents and purposes, that's what we were. Tradition. And eventually, I looked around. Me and some other comrades did some analysis, and we realized, like, okay, what impact have we had on the conditions of the working class? How have we moved the struggle forward? How have we helped? How have we served the people? And we were like, okay, we maybe set up a few community gardens. We might have helped organize a few tenants against their landlords, but ultimately, we remained small. People from the communities that we tried to organize really didn't join us. And what actually made me like pull the trigger on DSA was the 2023 National Convention when the left factions within the organization acquired a bit of a workable, I guess, a slight majority on the National Political Committee, the highest leadership body in between conventions, of course, of DSA. And I was like, okay, so the winds are shifting, and I want to be part of it. It's far better than remaining in these little small groups that always are talking about the reconstitution of a party. But Maoists have been talking about reconstituting a party for damn near 60 years, and we really aren't any closer than we were in 1971. So I was like, okay, let's see what DSA has going on. So I've been in almost this August. I will have been in DSA for 3 years, and I was a convention delegate last year. Got a chance to meet comrades from all over the country. I have a couple national leadership positions. The NPC was actually in St. Louis this weekend. Had an opportunity to hang out with and bounce ideas off those comrades. They came to meet and talk with Comrade Corey Bush, who will reclaim her seat this August.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, it's like I said, I found a community in DSA, one that I really did not have with the small group that I was involved in before I joined. So I have no regrets. There have been bumps in the road. Some people in DSA, just like in any other organization, just like people in general, have been annoying. But I've met far more people that I'm proud to call comrades.
Hell yeah. It's okay if some of your comrades are annoying. Like,
Yeah.
I think that's
And
such
that's
a good
like
point as well.
that's
Yeah.
that's the thing with the left in general. Like people are always seeking purity.
Right.
People are always seeking the perfect order. People are always seeking a place where everybody thinks just like them. And I'm like, that isn't an organization. That's a
It's a
cult.
cult. Yeah,
Like it's
exactly.
yeah, and people don't work that way. Like, of course you're going to come across people that disagree with you. Of course you're going to come across people that come from a variety of different organizing backgrounds, that come from a variety of different life backgrounds.
Hmm.
In DSA, I've met comrades who come from Bahrain, comrades from Ireland, comrades who grew up both wealthy and poor,
Mm.
and it's a variety of perspectives that ultimately helps lay the foundation for line struggle. Because if you all think the same, there's no struggle, and that's anti-Maoist. Because Maoism teaches us that everything, even within the organization, even within the party, is about struggle. That's how things grow and develop. When if things are not struggling against each other, you're not able to measure properly which is correct and what is wrong. You're not able to in have your ideas tested in practice, and you just sit. You're like Mao would say. You're just sitting. You have a quiver full of arrows, and you have a bow, but you never shoot one at a target. You just sit and stare at them, stare at the arrows, and look at how well made they are. But you forget that these arrows are weapons. They're
Mm.
meant to be fired at an enemy. So that's what Marxist, Leninist, Maoist, or whatever ideology that you uphold is. These are Proletarian ideology is a weapon in the hands of
Mm.
the proletariat, and for this actually to be true, for this actually to have material impact on the world, it has to be introduced to the proletariat. We have to actually be among the proletariat, be among colonized people, and and struggle with them and educate them and also be educated by them. A lot of people are not willing to be educated by the proletariat because they either have an idealist view or they have a nihilist view. They think that the workers are stupid. They think that the masses of people are too dumb to grasp what they're saying, and they need saviors to come from on high to save them. That's a very petty bourgeois way of way of thinking about people that ultimately are the makers of history.
Mm.
Yeah, I have to share. I've shared it, I think, on the show before, but it's been a while. The first person I think that ever identified as a communist that I knew was a guy that I worked with at Pizza Hut when I was, I think, 17, and he was this old man who refused to wear the Pizza Hut uniform and had been there so long that nobody made him, and he smoked a wooden pipe. He was so cool, and he said to me, and he was a weird guy, as a lot of people who have lived through the traumas of being a communist well into their 70s in this country are. But he said to me several things that stuck to me. One of which was, if you're a socialist without a community, without people you're working with, you're just an ist, which is of course
Mhm.
a silly joke. It's a good tweet actually, but it's something that stuck with me as like a 17-year-old. He also told me that he also told me that he would not live to see the revolution, but he believed that I would. I was not a communist at the time. I became one later. I definitely credit him with some of that, and he did die of COVID in 2020.
Mm.
So once again, shout out to Michael Black, great man.
Oh yeah.
But just throw that out there. You meet people among the working class that, yeah, they have these great impulses. I mean, we're all workers here, and people among the working class are not stupid necessarily. I mean, there are stupid people everywhere, but then by and large, there are stupid people in the ruling class. A whole lot of them. I just saw today, Morgan Stanley says SpaceX's revenue will be $3.4 trillion in 2040, unless we're seeing burning money for fuel levels of inflation. I greatly doubt that. So we're that's kind of what we're working with. We have to yeah, look to the people. Now you mentioned line struggle, and I would love if you could speak a little more on that and define sort of what you mean by line struggle and how that plays out in mass organizations like DSA.
Sure, thank you, Cameron, for sharing a very touching story. But line struggle is basically okay. So a line is basically like how your position on a certain thing, your organization's position on a certain thing, right? um, Line can only develop can develop through contradiction, through comparison and struggle with other lines. So we have Liberation Caucus. We have a Marxist Leninist Maoist outlook. We have a Marxist Leninist Maoist line. You have comrades at Red Star who are Marxist Leninists. You have LSC, which are more anarchist inclined comrades. You have R&R, which are more orthodox Trotskyist comrades. You have Bread and Roses, which are kind of from the same tradition. You have You have SMC and groundwork, which are for more like, I guess you would say social democratic socialists, whatever you want to call them, type traditions. But basically, we even have like neo Kotskyists in Marxist unity groups. So we have a variety of different lines in contention with each other, and that's how politics is done. Whereas a lot of people just think that line struggle is just, oh, you are a horrible revisionist. That's treating comrades as the enemy.
Mhm.
Line struggle starts with a desire for unity. We are all united in DSA together, and we can argue and we can struggle and we can debate in a sharp fashion. But ultimately, we have to debate and struggle in a principled fashion. That's why I laugh at these people who are just like, oh, when are you going to split DSA? I'm like, why would I split my organization? How would it be beneficial to the proletariat for a socialist organization with 105,000 members to just pull itself apart? That's no good, and that's how I could tell that these people have never organized. Splits, they cause immense amounts of psychological trauma to comrades. A lot of people have dropped out of politics because of splits. A lot
Yes.
of people have dropped out of the left because of splits, and like
Mhm.
you have to you can't just sit and think about destruction all the time. It's a dialectical relationship. We destroy in order to create. We're creating a revolutionary party so that we can destroy capitalism and build socialism. So it moves in waves. And a lot of people they have a very metaphysical view of politics. It's always about destroying the enemy, destroying, no creation. And a lot of these people, they haven't really studied, they haven't mastered dialectical materialism. They haven't realized that things there can be unities of opposites. There can be struggle and contradiction without things being pulled apart. The contradictions within DSA are not contradictions between enemy factions. They're contradictions among the people, and there may be a split in the future. Would I advocate for it? Would I initiate it? Absolutely not, because I have very limited patience personally for wreckers and splitters and those who are just about destruction. So line struggle basically means, okay, we're all together. We desire to unite, but we also desire to serve the people. And part of Marxism is realizing that there is objective right, there is objective correct ideas, and there's objective wrong ideas. For example, electoralism is strategy. As a Maoist, I see that as an incorrect idea. We're not going to reform. We're not going to vote away capitalism, imperialism, because that's simply not how these people work. The capitalist class did not vote away the aristocracy. They built machines that were specially made to chop off people's heads, and they used them. So we have to keep
From
that in
the
mind.
guillotine.
Revolutionary violence is the motor of class struggle. We have an antagonistic contradiction with the ruling class, with the bourgeoisie. These people live at our expense. They profit from making our lives miserable. That's why your rent's high. That's why expenses are going up. That's why there's a war every other week, because they make money off of that. They do not want us to be happy. For us as the working class, for us as socialists, for us as communists, to be truly happy, it is necessary, unfortunately, to engage in a violent struggle against the bourgeoisie. This is what everybody that has dealt with Marxism has taught us.
Yep. You're making me want to join the DSA.
As far as like your particular location, I wonder if you could tell us about some of the challenges on the ground that y'all have faced in your organizing, and how y'all have met the moment, and how y'all have brought that, and how y'all have settled on a line and brought it to the working class in their various struggles.
Hmm.
Sure. Well, I'm based in St. Louis, Missouri. It's
Hmm?
a city with a proud history of struggle. We actually had a commune here. The working class ruled the city of St. Louis for a few days until the National Guard came in and squashed it, because
Mm-hmm.
the St. Louis commune didn't go all the way, just like the
Hmm.
Paris commune, and both ended up crushed. Um, we had the first rent strike in public housing here that was organized by black women, and of course we also had the Ferguson revolt of 2014. So yeah, a lot of revolutionary history here. I'm proud to be from St. Louis. Never lived anywhere else. Contradictions here. Main one I would say is the police right now. Our police department in the city of St. Louis is run by the fascist Republican state government. We do not have local control of our police department. Um, and we also have we're a heavily segregated city, and we also we're still living with the fallout of the disaster that struck our city in May of last year. A tornado came and destroyed huge parts of a historic working class Black St. Louis, the west sides and the north side, and a lot of those people are still struggling. They're still living in homeless shelters. They're still living in tents, and the city and the federal government isn't really doing anything to help them. So we have a lot of contradictions in our city. STLDSA has been working tirelessly in collaboration with partners such as Action St. Louis, PSL. We have a very good working relationship with here. Organization for Black Struggle, various anarchist groups. But yeah, one of the things that we've been promoting over the past year and a half is the need for increased unity. So we've appeared at protests together with PSL. I spoke at PSL organized Black August event last year, and I'm actually running for co-chair of my chapter again this year to help continue that and help build on that because going forth with what I said at the beginning of this podcast. We need unity. We need unity. Probably the biggest issue that I would say is impacting STODSA is our objective lack of ties to the working class Black community in St. Louis. A lot of our members are white people who moved to St. Louis, and I love my comrades, but I believe that a socialist organization needs to reflect the class and ethnic composition of the area of the city in
Mm-hmm.
which it organizes. So one of my main things since I've been in SDLDSA is struggling with the comrades and figuring out how we can more accurately reflect the demographics of St. Louis in our organization. And we can really only do that by going again. If you ask a Maoist anything, we're probably going to respond with the masses. Like we have to go among the masses, we have to do mass work, and we have to partner with and unite with the people who are already doing this work with the people. We have to build working relationships. We can't just show up to Black neighborhoods as an organization that's heavily white because that's going to be seen as gentrification and colonizing, rightfully so. So we have to continue to build links with groups like Organization for Black Struggle, with groups like Action St. Louis, with groups that have been doing this work in the Black community for years. So that would probably be our main contradiction. We have to link up and unite more
Yeah.
with the Black proletariat in St. Louis.
St. Louis it's not a majority Black city, is it? I'm trying to look up the demographics right now.
It's roughly, I believe, 47 point. Basically, it's almost half.
Oh, really? It's close. Okay.
Yeah, let
Is
me see.
y'all's police force and like local ruling class, like the city council, is it like you're talking about like getting parity or whatever with the demographics? Is it a white ruled city?
So our city is 44% white, 42% Black, 5% Hispanic, and 4% Asian. We also have a huge Bosnian community here.
Oh.
Yeah, we have more Bosnians than anywhere outside of Bosnia.
Oh,
Um,
was that, I guess, a resettlement program?
it was resettlement. Yeah, they were fleeing this horrible genocide, and a lot of them already had family here, so they resettled here. We have roughly, I believe, 60,000 individuals of Bosnian descent here, which is pretty cool.
Wow.
The Bosnian team actually played a friendly against Panama on Saturday. So yeah, it was like it was huge. I've never seen so many Bosnian flags, Bosnian people hanging out, grabbing folks, giving them hugs. They tied, but they were still happy. It was good seeing that unity from a
Nice.
community that was impacted by horrible genocide. But in terms of the ruling class, the ruling class, I mean, you have a like Black petty bourgeoisie, a Black like wannabe bourgeoisie, small business owners, people that work for the government, cops, professionals. Those are all like petty bourgeois types. But the big money here, like the old money families, those are all white.
Hmm.
You've got the veiled prophet types; those are all white. And like I said, we're a heavily segregated city. Yeah, most of the money that matters in St. Louis is in white hands.
Yeah.
I would recommend folks that are interested in that kind of conversation about the intersection between a sort of a white ruling class and a black petty bourgeoisie in the context of Atlanta, especially to refer to our episode from about a year ago with Mariah Parker and their book on Cop City and how it came to be here in Atlanta. I'm sure. I mean, it's a very Atlanta specific book, but I'm sure there are a lot of lessons to be drawn nationally from it as well. Also, it's a great book. Always happy to recommend it. No Cop City, No Cop World. Great book. Um, one thing that I wanted to talk about is something when we talk about left unity. I think this is something, and I'm also curious. Of primarily your thoughts on this, BRG, but also Lenore and Jen. I would love to hear what y'all think when we talk about left unity. We can, of course, and as leftists historically are very good at identifying where we disagree. What are key points of agreements that we need to unite around? What are key? I mean, we can say that very generally, but what are key points where we can unite and as many people as possible as can constitute the left, putting that in very broad quotes, can form a unifying coalition, call it a united front, call it what you will. What are those points that we can define around? And I think in kind of contrast to that, how do we build as broad as possible a coalition that is also a principled coalition around specific points of unity? Is I suppose what I'm getting at here. Where is it good to compromise? Where is it not good to compromise? And I know that's situational, but speaking broadly.
Well, obviously, a few things. The need for the defense of the self determination rights of the indigenous people and new African people, the various people that were colonized by this country. Puerto Rico must be free. Hawaii must be free. New Africa must be free. The indigenous nations must be free. That's why I say always that there can be no socialist United States, because socialism is antithetical to what this country is. This was the world's really first entirely bourgeois country. Like you look at England, you look at France, you look at Germany. All these countries have a tradition of the commons, they have a tradition of peasant revolts and stuff like that. The closest to a peasantry that we had in this country was black and Latino sharecroppers.
Mm.
So even then, that came out of the whole chattel slavery and the colonization of Chicano land by the United States, which was taken by war, illegal and unjust war on behalf of Texas over slavery. So um, keeping that in mind, like we cannot just graft socialism onto stolen land without addressing the contradiction of stolen land and stolen people. Like we have to actually reach out to and consult with our indigenous comrades to find out, because obviously, like nobody, I've never heard an indigenous comrade be like, "Yeah, we're sending you all back to Europe." Like that's unfeasible. And a lot of people, they just bring that up as some type of boogeyman to throw shade at the struggle of indigenous comrades for the liberation of their land. But like whatever it's going to look like, we have to consult our indigenous comrades. We have to always keep in mind that this is their land that we're living on. We have to keep in mind that every time you see a black person, you are seeing a victim of human trafficking and of every type of crime that you can commit against a human being in the book. So that's why social democratic reforms will not work in this country, because you cannot reform away stolen land. You cannot give black people what we are already entitled to and what we are already fighting for. So the left needs to unite around that.
Mm.
Of course, also the need to defend our trans comrades who are literally being attacked from the highest levels in this
Yes.
country. Like trans people are literally among the only people that it's okay to legally discriminate against, and you have states that are passing laws to literally try to drive trans comrades out of public life. You have an epidemic of murders on the streets, um, and so that's necessary. We have to be very firm in our anti-imperialist positions, regardless of our critiques of the countries that America is fucking with, regardless of our critiques of the DPRK, or the Islamic Republic of Iran, or any other country, the PRC. We have to keep in mind that U.S. imperialism is the number one terrorist of the world today. No, U.S. imperialism is the number one destabilizer and maker of war. And a lot of people, they get distracted. It's not my business what the Iranian people want to do with their country. It's not my business how the Palestinian people liberate themselves. It's not my business how the Chinese people deal with the various contradictions going on in their country. It's none of my business what other countries that our country is attacking are doing. What is our business? What we can influence as Americans is getting this country out of these countries. Leave Cuba alone. Leave Iran alone. Leave the DPRK alone. Leave the world alone. Bring the troops home. Close all these military bases. That should be our job as American socialists. That is what we should be organizing towards. And the Iranian people can critique their own government if they so choose, but self determination and defense of the sovereignty and independence of other countries. That's what we should be about.
Mm.
The necessity to topple capitalism and imperialism. When I say topple, I mean do away with, not reform, not tweak, but do away with. And last but certainly not least, the need to thoroughly and wholeheartedly oppose the Zionist imperialist puppet of the United States in the Middle East. Israel is basically the bastard child of the United Kingdom and the United States, and we continue to allow it to do whatever the fuck it wants. It's our mad dog off the leash in the Middle East. It's caused tens of millions of deaths, and it needs to go. That's why we need to thoroughly reject the notion, this liberal Zionism, that there could be a two-state solution or that Israel has the right to exist in any form. So, thoroughgoing anti-Zionism is a necessity. Those would be my like basis points for unity.
Yeah, I think that's great. And it seems like such basic things. Like when you lay it out like that, it's like these are all quite reasonable that I think anyone ostensibly on the left should be able to agree with, which ideally means that we have a lot of potential comrades. Like if you list out those bullet points. I don't know, months ago, a year ago, I tweeted or I blue skied actually. I skeeted something like I
I
will
hate
vote
that
for the
word.
candidate that pledges to close just 10% of the military bases overseas. 10%. It's not a whole lot when we have close to 900, right? Like it's like such a low bar and people were like that's fucking crazy. And I was like the fact that that is crazy, that is like I would say we have several like baseline contradictions, but like that definitely is one of them. That is like the footprint of American imperialism, of US capitalism. And if you can't even get somebody to be like, yeah, we should close 10% of those, uh that's a huge problem with the ruling class and their priorities for
Mhm.
sure.
Yeah, well, and a proposal like that alone, right? It's, I mean, obviously, we want to close them all, right? But a proposal like that alone sort of, it's a good, it's a good way to sort of disturb the waters, right? It's a good way to reveal where people think their interests lie, and then to sort of get to the bottom of, okay, well, why do you believe that, right?
Mm.
Because why do we have these things open over there? I was talking to somebody actually way back during 2024 when we were like ballot petitioning, who was the only person I've ever met who was convinced that yeah we need to like shore up against like Russia or like whatever geopolitical enemy, right? And obviously I didn't have time to get into it with this person, but right, it's symptomatic of it's symptomatic of such a powerful alienation, um you know from what these things actually from what your interests are and like what these things actually serve. um and it's astonishing just how it's astonishing to me just how much of these assumptions people can go through and just have them be completely unchallenged.
Well, I mean, yes, absolutely. I think for context, this episode is going to come out on June 11th, so there is no telling what's going to happen between now and then. This we are recording the evening of June 9th for context of our list for our listeners' context. As we speak, Iran, it seems, at least the U.S. is claiming, shot down an U.S. Apache helicopter over the Strait of Hormuz. Trump is claiming those soldiers got back fine. Seems like everybody who crashes gets back fine. Not so sure about that. Uh, yeah, we talked about that Intercept article a month ago about the casualty reports being a little cooked, but who knows? Um, the and there are currently strikes ongoing. A couple days ago, Iran and Israel had a pretty vicious but short exchange, and of course, Israel is carrying out just truly, I mean, I believe it was Israel Katz, their defense minister, who said we are going to do Rafah to southern Lebanon, and that is
Mm.
what they are in the process of doing in southern
Wow, they
Lebanon.
just said that
Oh yeah,
openly. Oh.
and so I So that is the moment we're at now. Of course, we've made no secret on this podcast of our position on the Iran war, on the Iran's rights, self defense, and on the criminality of it. But BRG, I would love to get some of your thoughts, your perspective on this moment, on sort of the U.S.'s seemingly flailing strategy. I mean, to me, when I'm looking at this, I mean, I expected this war to be a disaster, but the level of lack of coordination and Donald Trump seemingly just agreeing to the last person he spoke to, not sure whether he wants a deal, not sure whether he wants to listen to, or Fox News yells at him and says he can't make a deal. I mean, it's a fucking mess, and we're seeing now global oil prices, while they are going up, are not shooting up nearly as much as they maybe ought to if it wasn't for the fact that all these consulting companies are assuming the Strait of Hormuz will be open much sooner than I think any rational individual has can believes. I mean, who knows what kind of deal will be struck tomorrow, but it doesn't look like that. Also helium, also fertilizer, these things need to be talked about, especially with regard to global famine, especially in the global south. Microchips already going up because of AI. um, I mean, we are in this chaotic position. I would love to know what your thoughts are around this, and also I mean, of course you oppose it, but also what do we do in this moment? Because as while there is an anti-war movement, and this war is historically unpopular, we aren't seeing the kind of mobilizations that one might want to see. And I don't mean to blame the people for that. They saw a lot of mobilizations around Gaza that seemed to go nowhere.
Mm.
Um, would love to get your thoughts on that.
Sure. I mean, like you said, um, Iran is being punished not because of anything that's going on internally, but because they stand. It is the only power in the Middle East, the only power in the world that has stood and has shed blood alongside the Palestinian people, that has sacrificed. And Israel and the United States have determined that they need to suffer for that. So this is punishment and flat out retaliation. That's how we have to analyze the big picture. In regard to the economic situation, Trump has flat out said that he doesn't give a shit. He doesn't care if
Yeah.
gas goes up to 8.50 a gallon. He doesn't care. And so when we have an open enemy like Trump, who obviously does not care about the well-being of his own people, the people that he's supposed to be looking after, never mind the well-being of people across the world, um, we have to act accordingly. We have to act accordingly, and we have to get on one accord that hey, this can't keep going on. And the old strategy of just gathering in the same old city centers and yelling at empty buildings and waving signs around, it's not working. We have to actually go to the masses. We have to go to the masses, and we can't just keep again just having the same old 50 activists parading around downtown with signs. So eventually nobody gives a shit. Like we have to explain to people why they have to give a shit about these wars that are going on, because you talk to an average person and they're like, oh yeah, this is fucked up, this is bad, but they don't know enough, or they do not care enough to actually get out there and help us fight against these things. We have to organize workers who are at who are at key logistical points, key transport points. How can we stop these bombs? How can we stop these bombs? And we have to provide political education and actually organize the people who are helping make them. We have to organize workers at Boeing, at Lockheed Martin, among around issues other than their own contracts. Like it really hurt my heart when these workers went out on strike, not for Palestine. Like you literally had Palestinian workers, Palestinian trade unions who were literally begging their class siblings in the United States, the countries that are making these bombs that are killing them and their them parents and their children, to go out on strike, and there was nothing. Sean Fain did nothing. The Teamsters did nothing. SOB Sean O'Brien is kissing Trump's ass, and it just shows like how dare I say cooked the American labor movement is, because there's really been no intentional communist intervention. And a lot of the interaction that the American so-called communist movement has with the labor movement is flat out opportunist and tailist. And we have to be leaders. Like we have to actually organize these workers, like the comrades in Spain, like the comrades in Greece, who literally have shut down ports on behalf of the people of Palestine. And we need that motion going in the United States, because this is where this stuff is made. The tear gas, the skunk spray, um, the GBUs, all these jets. We have to stop selling this shit to the Israelis, and ultimately we have to stop making this stuff. And we kind of get into a cross, because the IAM, the machinist union, actually has as a clause that they support a bloated defense budget because it means more jobs and more money for their workers. So that's just a contradiction of being a communist working in labor in the imperial core. You're going to come up against that type of thing, and only through practice can you find out how to get yourself out of that cross.
And hell, one of the only places you could buy white phosphorus in the world weaponized is from a factory in Arkansas. We know where it is, you know. Some of these places, it's the only place they're going to get some of this shit. Not universally, but absolutely. I remember the dock workers strike last year, which was, I mean, fantastic that they won some benefits for their workers, but they specifically. The dock workers strike specifically in the interest of national security, quote unquote, did not count any U.S. military linked vessels or defense contractor linked vessels as part of the strike. They continued to allow them to load and unload the boats, things like that. So that is something that
Yeah,
we absolutely have to work on.
it's fucking embarrassing.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that I've very much struggled with and been frustrated by lately is like, okay, you have this trade union consciousness among these segments of labor in the United States, but it hasn't really overcome that alienation from the rest of the global south in that way, from the countries that their efforts, directly or indirectly, um, fuel the despoliation of. And I wonder where you see opportunities to sort of bridge that gap between our proletariat and that of elsewhere in the world.
Sure. I mean, we have to because there are a lot of migrants from these countries in the United States. We have to actually put American-born workers, workers who identify as American, in conversation in the same room with these people, with these comrades, and like get them to actually think of these people as their class siblings. They have to meet Mexican workers. They have to meet Brazilian workers. They have to meet Palestinian workers. One example I point to is in the 70s, you had the League of Revolutionary Black Workers in Detroit. And there was actually a Palestinian, an Arab American caucus in this organization that actually organized to help get the UAW to try and divest from Israel bonds. So there is a precedent of solidarity, but it has to be intentional. And again, we have to clear through struggle our political line of out of uh, out of this sort of this opportunist and right wing rut that we're in. Like we're acting like we're just because we're in a room with the union leader, or just because we have a few members salting somewhere that we're doing real union work. No, real union work is actually turning American workers into anti-imperialists, and that's our primary goal right now.
You mentioned also, we're talked about labor there. You also mentioned going to the masses, talking about education, things like that. This is, of course, part and parcel. What other sort of actions in organizing do you think that can be done outside of labor that is, related to stopping the American imperialist war effort? One thing that I've seen folks work on that I think has had some success is educating young people and like pushing young people, especially in communities that very often have people go into the military, pushing them away from joining the military in the first place has been a important point, and that is relevant. That the U.S. military has had some trouble meeting its goals in recruitment. Now they're still massive and bloated, and becoming increasingly less reliant on foot soldiers as drones and automation go up. So we can't rest on our laurels. But I would love to know thoughts from any of y'all on other kinds of work that can be done, because of course protests are lovely. I'm sure we've all been part of them, and there are meaningful aspects to that, but it can't be the end all and be all. And people do burn out on that. People do. I mean, here in Atlanta, the Palestine movement, people support Palestine more than they have ever in Atlanta. But when you organize a protest for it, people show up, and it's great and it's good, and you link up with each other, and fantastic. But ultimately people are continue or I've seen burning out on it because they feel like they're not gaining traction for the reasons that we've stated. So outside of labor, what kind of work is there to be done?
We got to escalate. I'm sorry. There's certain things we shouldn't say on a podcast, but like,
Sure.
I
And
think
I'm not
I think
asking you to
part of
say those if you don't want to.
yeah. Go ahead and say it, Jen. Just why don't you say what you mean? Um,
Mhm.
thank you. But I think protests are great because they show that there is energy and that there are people that care. And that definitely is a part of something that we should participate in and agitate around. But like BRG mentioned earlier, mutual aid is such a big part of this, and it's not just, what did you say, handing out spaghetti, which is very a visceral image to me. It's it's just such a weird food.
Handing out cooked
Um,
spaghetti actually in your hand, not boxes, but
that's what I was
just
picturing,
wet
like a little
noodles.
bowl
Yes.
of noodles,
Yeah, don't do
which is
that.
great. A hot meal is very important to people,
Of course.
and I am part of a group that engages in mutual aid around town, and we often have this conversation. Like this community, we've gotten to know them pretty well, and we talk to a lot of these people. Some that have been on the streets for a very long time, and some that are passing through because Austin is a very passing through kind of city. Um, but there are next steps, right? Like once you get embedded with, or make friends with, gain the trust of the communities, and that's not just, like we specifically work with the homeless communities here, but that's with, the people at the gym that I go to. It's an all women's boxing gym, and people know, some of them openly like know that I'm openly a communist. Like if they follow my socials, they know that. But I talk to a lot of them that are more on the progressive liberal side of things. But we talk a lot, right? And we share ideas of what to do, and what's going on, and building those bridges with those people that are, some of these are like women that are retired that like go to protests all the time. One of them went down um to one of the immigrant detention centers. This is a woman in her late 70s that got like tear gassed by the cop, a white woman in her late 70s. So like it's so important to have those conversations with the people that you might not expect to not just be on the same side as you, but like be aggressively on the same side as you. Be willing to put their bodies on the line for these things that you might not have even realized you aligned so strongly on. So like taking those next steps, and like I think it is important, obviously, as far as you can be safe, and it's different in different places, but to be open about what it is that we believe and what we understand to be the like deepest like contradictions and things that need to be solved first, rather than
Mm-hmm.
just like putting on your pink pussy hat and being like, I don't know what Missouri's laws are, but like we live in states with abortion bans, and
Yeah.
like that's such a an area that should be easy to organize around, but I've actually found it to be pretty difficult here, because again, a lot of these like white liberal women can still get access to things, and so like it's finding where those points of agitation are,
Mm-hmm.
and then pushing for wink nod next steps, whether that is escalating what the protests look like, or whether that is blocking shipments of things coming and going, um actively shutting down commerce in certain like key points in the city, because we all live in cities where there are things happening, highways running through, like there are choke points. Every city has a Strait of Hormuz, right? Like every city has a place where you can squeeze, and part of getting people ready to make that squeeze is like having these tough conversations.
Mm-hmm.
Atlanta's Midtown intersection actually has a rainbow on it, so it's not very straight of
Oh, it's
Hormuz. But
I didn't
uh,
realize Atlanta was so woke. Texas had to go through and pay money to tear up all of our rainbow crosswalks. We took out all of our, and now I took issue when this happened, when they painted Black Lives Matter on a street that used to be the black part of town but has been heavily gentrified over the last decade, and it felt sarcastic at a point. But regardless of like, it was still like symbolism. The city was trying to pretend like they care. The state of Texas made them go and scratch, like tear all of that off of all of the cities. So
well,
Mm-hmm.
thank God that they got rid of all the rainbows, because I didn't get a single message on Grinder when I was in Austin a few days ago.
wow,
Sorry.
wow, not a single one. That's
I
harsh.
that's a lie. That's a lie. Listeners will know. I'm cute. Lenore, what were you gonna
Listeners
say?
will know what a stud this guy is.
Of
Well, yeah,
course.
and like again, like as far again, like yeah, sure, protests like they get people together in a space. They show you that yeah, oh yeah, there are a lot of people who are like affected and like agitated. But yeah, absolutely. It very necessarily has to be a step one, right? And one way to sort of impress that on people, I think, is to again, just remind them of uh like we were talking about earlier, going among people and actually getting from the people affected by this or that contradiction, the contours of the problem, right? You know that what you said about trans healthcare earlier, BRJ, stood out to me, because I think a lot of people, for example, when they look at the bans coming down on um, trans healthcare for children, and how those are very carefully crafted to build a precedent for the same happening to adults, right? You know, all of us writ large, right? That's important to impress upon people because there is I think, a false premise in, certainly, like, you organize in whatever channel to ease the conditions, like through, um, through this or that reform if it presents itself. But right, that can't be the be all end all, because then the opportunity for the ruling classes then to offer you crumbs, and say, well, it's this or like it all goes, right? That's how Stacey Abrams collaborated with Republicans in our state to cut hope. It's that, and also just impressing on people like the scale of the problem through these conversations, right? There's roughly 5 million trans people who are working people, in our proletariat. 1 in 5 of them, the number is probably much higher, report workplace discrimination annually. Um, you know, a body like the ACLU or like whatever other national legal body simply does not have the manpower, simply does not have the resources to, fight all of these battles, right? So you have to find the people in your vicinity, who are willing to build a sustained network of support, right? It's, like we said about not fighting for a socialist United States, not biting off the whole apple, right? You have to find areas in your community and build from there. And it's daunting and it feels inadequate, but there is no substitute for a foundation.
Definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Lenore, I should add that for those who don't live in Georgia, Hope is a scholarship program. Stacey Abrams did not destroy the concept of hope. No, I was just kidding. I was just imagining how weird that might sound to people who don't live here.
Look, I got it because of context, but that phrase did stick out in my mind, as it would have been a really good like rallying point around stopping her from doing that.
It did destroy a lot of. I mean, it wrecked a lot of people's like chances to get a better career. So I mean,
Yeah.
in spirit. Well, as we move towards the end here, we've talked about a lot of cool stuff today. Um, Everybody who's listening to this, I mean, you're not all Americans. The last I checked, you are 75% Americans. But wherever you are, there's work to be done, no doubt, no doubt. Our second biggest audience is in the UK, and after that, Canada. Y'all have plenty to do as well. Um, People need to get plugged in. I always say get plugged in the place where the work is being done, genuinely and actually, and building as broad of a coalition as possible to do it. BRG, what would you recommend for people beyond that? Where if they are not plugged in a location, what would you recommend them do? I mean, of course, you've talked about DSA, things like that. If you want to expound on that, and if people that maybe it's their first time, maybe they're young or maybe they're not young, but they've never been involved in organizing before, they've been burnt out on it. What would you tell people that are listening right now that want to get into the fight but maybe are nervous or feel green?
You got. I keep. There's really no other alternative. Y'all got to get organized. Y'all have to tap in. Y'all, there is no excuse. It's becoming increasingly dangerous to just sit on your ass and doom scroll and not do anything. Like you have to get involved in the struggle. You have to join the organization that exists where you are. 9 times out of 10, it's going to be DSA, and put your whole ideological purity search aside. Like, it's people. We're all going to fucking die if we don't get off our asses and do something. And it takes everybody. It takes people with a variety of different skills. It takes people from all backgrounds. Yeah, you gotta get involved in organizing. Otherwise, there's no hope. There's no use of complaining because you're not doing shit about it.
Hell
Absolutely.
yeah. I love that. We're all gonna die anyway. Die doing something worthwhile. I just started Revolutionary Suicide.
Okay.
I don't know why it took me so long to start it, but I did. And it starts off with him explaining what that means, and that's essentially it, right? Like we're none of us are making it out of here alive, right? And that's okay and normal, and that's what life is. So it's important to put our energy towards the things that matter. And as
Precisely.
of right now, that what the thing that matters the most is stopping the crushing forces of fascism and imperialism, and liberating our class. And that's a pretty fucking
Yep.
cool goal.
Actually,
Precisely.
Jim, the Apostle John will live until the return of Christ. He's out there somewhere. That's for our evangelical listeners. But
I don't
everybody
even
else,
know
we're
what
not
that
making it.
means. Yeah, that
Yeah,
sounds
it's
terrifying,
out
but
there.
yes, I'd rather listen to Huey P. Newton.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's out there somewhere, folks. He's out there. Well, BRG, can you tell people one more time where can they find you? What kind your work that you're doing, both on the ground if they're in the St. Louis area, and also online because you make videos and some great content.
Sure. My YouTube is Black Red Guard. My Twitter is at OG Black Red Guard. And my Twitch is also OG Black Red Guard. If you are looking for me organizing wise, you can find me in STLDSA or in AfroSoc. So yeah, join and let's hang out and let's get some shit popping.
Hell
Thanks
yeah.
for having me on,
Fantastic.
comrades.
Thank you for coming on.
Thank you. All right,
All
folks,
right.
let's get some shit popping. Y'all have a good one.
Pages upon pages, words of wisdom from other workers' brow. Got my nose to the spine, nose soaking up all the wisdom of their will allow.
We're at the hour mark. Is there anything else y'all want to touch on as we kind of move towards wrapping it up here? Ryan, you can cut this part of me
There's
asking.
primaries going on today. That's interesting.
Yeah, but
Oh, is it? I hope to never hear that man's fucking name again after today. I swear to God, by the time this podcast episode comes out, I muted his name on Twitter. I went into my muted words and put both words of that fucking man's name. And I still constantly, it's all over my fucking feed. I hope that he loses and then shoots himself in the tonight. Cut that.
Share and we show